This is Dynasty Portfolio Weekly, hosted by Scott Connor.
Welcome back onto the trading floor. Dynasty Portfolio Weekly is back for the 2024 season. And for this year, we are going to focus on very specific moves to be made in your Dynasty portfolio. And you are going to get it firsthand from me, moves in my Dynasty portfolio that I'm actually trying to start the week. And I'll give a quick plug to our new website, ddfantasyfootball.com. We have a new show that is inside the Discord. And if you subscribe to the website or you join the Discord community at patreon.com/allgas, you get access to a private pod feed where there is a show every Monday night with Ty DeClaire. You know him from the DD Fantasy Trade Show, where he does a show called Pole Position. And it is talking about Dynasty portfolio or Dynasty strategies to lead into the next upcoming week. So things that you can go, okay, I'm going to start proposing these on Tuesday morning as soon as the new week starts. And that is kind of going to be what this show is, except for it's going to speak to my specific portfolio. So it's going to be interactive. You're going to see me send out and search for some of these trades while we're actually on the show. So every Tuesday, you're going to get Dynasty Portfolio Weekly, and it's going to focus specifically on my portfolio. And we just got the news just yesterday that Isiah Pacheco has a broken fibula, and the recovery is going to be difficult for him to get back and be a major fantasy factor. So I'm going to start there. And the move this week is because I am exposed to Isiah Pacheco, which I will show here in just a second. It is going to be focused on moving some Isiah Pacheco shares. So let me go ahead and get to the news. And here it is from Jeff Mueller. Jeff's confirmation of this injury and his take. And again, you can get Jeff's show also inside the Discord, Inside Injury or Instant Injuries, every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, sign up through the Patreon or through the website at ddfantasyfootball.com. But here's Jeff's take. Isiah Pacheco, confirmed fibula fracture, set to miss significant time. Return to play will be dependent on surgery versus no surgery, but plan to be without him for 12 plus weeks. Jalen Waddle notoriously had a fast recovery from his injury, returned to play at 11 weeks, but was not 100%. So right there, we already have information that Pacheco could be out for all intents and purposes the entire season. So here we go. What do you do with your Isiah Pacheco shares? And the problem is he's a running back. He's a running back that didn't have a lot of pedigree. Now, he's a running back that was in a good offense, but for most parts, running backs on today's market are valued at what can they do for me right now? And if you buy this news that this could be a 12-week injury, he can't do much for you the rest of the season. That would put him back to what? Week 14 or 15 where he's back. And who knows who else emerges in the Chiefs backfield? Who knows if they get another running back potentially? If we just don't know, that's too far out to say for sure he's going to be back for me in week 14, week 15, and I'm starting him. And obviously he doesn't help you get to the playoffs. Even if he does return, you don't know about his role, but you may not even make it that far to where you actually get him back. So for me, I'm looking at my Pacheco shares going, okay, I need to get out. I need to find a way to potentially get off of these Pacheco shares. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to pull up my Dynasty portfolio. And as you can see it right here, Dynasty portfolio, Isiah Pacheco. You can go to dynasty-daddy.com. Proud partner of DD Fantasy Football. Jeremy and Dynasty Daddy do great work. They've helped develop our tools on the website. And Dynasty Daddy has this portfolio tool where you can load in all of your Dynasty leagues throughout various platforms, and it gives you this portfolio view right here. See, I have my leagues loaded in there. Reload portfolio. You can do that. You can reload them, load them back up. But all you do is you come down here, and here you go. Isiah Pacheco. I have 9 shares of Isiah Pacheco. And you can go through and you can click and see, okay, what league, what website. I have them on an FFPC, Pros vs. Joes, 3 MFL leagues, and 5 sleeper leagues. So I have 9 shares of Pacheco, and I don't have time to hold a running back that is potentially going to miss the entire season, especially when running backs are valued very much so. What can they do for me now? So we're going to go over to sleeper, and we're going to actually go through these leagues specifically and see where it might make sense for me to move a couple Pacheco shares. So we'll go through on here. Boom. So we're in sleeper. Now, those 5 sleeper leagues where I had them. Let's go to the first one. The first one is definitely a league where I could afford to move Pacheco. This is a very high buy-in league, and it is one where I have some other running backs on this roster. Hopefully it loads here. Here we go. So my team is probably about to go 4-0. We play against the media in every single week, but my team is a contender. And I believe this is a 12. I'd have to go and look at the specific leagues. It looks like it's a start 12 super flex. And as you see, Pacheco was one of my running backs in the flexes. I was starting 4 yesterday, actually, but it's a start 12. So immediately in a start 12, I'm sitting here looking at who are some potential pivots that I can go to maybe some teams towards the bottom and just start sending out some trades. Again, I'm abandoning pretty much all dynasty principles here, figuring, okay, can I get a deal done with Pacheco, getting some credit for Pacheco? So I'm going to start here. Start here with old Clay. So Clay is in this league. Clay is in last place. I'm guessing Clay, well, maybe Clay might have won this week. I'm not sure if Clay is going to win this week, but Clay was interested in trading Jordan Mason. You can't see it because my face is covering it, but Clay put Jordan Mason on the block. I had actually made some offers to Clay for Jordan Mason. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through and I'm going to make Clay an offer of, I will give up Isiah Pacheco for Jordan Mason. And our deal was I wanted to give Clay a 25 first for Jordan Mason and his 25 second. And I'm just guessing there that maybe that's a 6-pick gap. If I end up being the 109, 110, I'm just going to bet hopefully I win the championship, but I don't, still bottom 4 pick or top 4 pick, however you want to look at that. So I'm trading away my first for his second. In this case, I am going to just give up my second or a second. I have a couple of them in this league. I am going to give up a second and rather just select mine. So boom. And then I'm going to ask for Clay's third back. So there we go. Send out that offer. I actually hate sending out picks on Sleeper on desktop because it doesn't send out clean, but we're going to send Isiah Pacheco and a second for Jordan Mason and a third. We're going to send it out and we will just let it sit there and see what happens. So we'll go to the next team. We will go to the 11th place team. Do they have any running backs I would be interested in doing the same type of deal with? Here we go. J.K. Dobbins. Adjust to new information. J.K. Dobbins. Should probably remove my face from this. It'll be better. There we go. So J.K. Dobbins. Let's send out an offer for J.K. Dobbins. And we're going to include Pacheco in that deal as well. And again, you're probably just looking for a running back that you like their short-term role. There's zero dynasty evaluation in this in terms of long-term. Really what I'm looking at for Pacheco is if he comes back, is there a market where he takes over the role that he already has? And is there a live market where somebody else will be confident in using him? Therefore, there is a viable market to move him. That is dynasty. And I think that's why the Pacheco injury is so big because, well, if he comes back and you can't trust to start him, then what is the path for the manager that potentially has him? If they can't start him, why would somebody necessarily want him? Because I'm not really buying running backs for 2025. I'll take them if I have a team that absolutely has nothing to play for this year. But other than that, I'm really not interested in buying him only because there's probably not a path for him for much of the rest of the year. And I could be wrong. Jeff could be wrong on when he returns. He could be back in week 11 and he's ramping up and ready to go in the playoffs and he could be a winner. But if you're willing to make the bet, and that's part of the strategy is I'm just making the bet now. I have 9 shares of Isiah Pacheco. Why am I going to make the bet on more than a couple of those? And there's probably a couple, and there is a league on here on Sleeper where I'm already kind of punting. I have 525 first. I have zero incentive to move Pacheco. It sucks that I can't move him now, but I have zero incentive to move him because he's not going to hurt me the rest of the season. So here's another one. I'm going to send out Pacheco and a second for J.K. Dobbins and a third, and that one is proposed. So we will see what happens with that deals or any other running backs on this team. And I'm going to the bottom of the teams here. I'm looking for the teams that are already out of it or the teams that are not in the playoffs to see if there's any potential offers that could be made. I could pivot to another position, but for this specific circumstance, I'm fine just going with running backs. I mean, there's a million deals you could propose, but I think when it's a running back for a running back, I'm more likely to get somebody to bite on one of those because they may be also wanting to trade away a running back. Like, I'm guessing this 11th place team is probably not super interested in holding J.K. Dobbins. So if they can remove him, remove those potential points, and get what they think is a good dynasty deal, they'll be more likely to accept that. And part of it is here, I don't have time to wait weeks. Like, I want to get this done today. I want to move Pacheco for other quote unquote value where I can just plug and play what I'm getting back. I don't want to have somebody wait and not be sure whether they want to do the deal. So I'm trying to prey on the fact that running backs are probably going to be the most likely position that other people are going to want to move. So this team, I don't even think they have any running backs that they can trade me. Doesn't look like they do. Nope, nothing on that roster that I can go for. Here's another one. They have Kamara, Zach Charbonnet. I mean, this team is in rough shape quarterback-wise. Probably didn't win this week unless Kamara dragged him to a victory. So let's try Kamara here. So we will send out Kamara. And this is probably one of the more aggressive ones given how great Kamara has been through the first 2 weeks. But we will do Kamara. And let's go down, see if we can get a third in that deal. We can get a third. And we will send out Pacheco and the second. And I'm sending out a second that is mine, so probably the least desirable of the seconds, whereas there is another second for that team that was in 11th place that if they counter with that, I would probably still take it. If they removed the third in this type of deal, I would probably still take it, especially the Kamara deal, where I'm not as apt to have that third round pick back. But here I'm looking for someone to go, okay, I like the form of this deal. I like sending my Kamara, getting back a second, and getting back Pacheco that is not going to actually hurt me the rest of the way because he's not going to score points for the majority of the rest of the season. So we'll send out that deal. Kamara's gone. Let's see if there's any other players on this roster. Jerome Ford. Could do Jerome Ford. That would be one where, Pacheco for Jerome Ford in a third could potentially get done. I don't mind sending that one out. In fact, you know what? I'm willing to bet on that, especially given I thought Ford was still going to start losing some usage to Deontay Foreman, but he rallied and he ended up being fine. So I'm willing to do that one as well. Jerome Ford, and kick me back a third. And I will give you Isiah Pacheco. And if this doesn't work, the alternative would be if none of these deals get done, if I don't get a counter that I'm willing to accept, I can always be willing to liquidate Pacheco to one of these teams and see if I can get something else, cross-positional. Maybe I can get a tight end. This is a 2 PPR league for tight ends, so maybe a tight end could work as well. And then I'll go to the final 0-2 team here. Let's see, they have DeAndre Swift. That's actually a good one. If that offense gets better, I like the way that they've been using Swift. That would be one I'd be willing to do. In fact, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'm going to try the DeAndre Swift, and we're going to try the same deal where I get back a third and give up Pacheco in a second. Let's see, yep, they have a third here, so that works perfectly. And these are all 0-2 teams, with the majority of them going to be 0-4, potentially 1-3, depending on if they beat the median. Probably 1 or 2 will beat the median. But again, I'm just trying to get credit for a running back that I know is not going to help me the rest of the year. So that deal gets sent out. And boom, 5 deals sent out to all of the teams in that league that are 0-2. That is as simple as I pretty much make it. I don't overthink it. I know I'm overexposed to Pacheco, and I don't want to be overexposed to a player with an injury. So we're going to move on. We'll do another league here. And this one, I think, is probably a little less urgent that I get the deal done. This is a team where I believe my team started off. Yeah, I'm 1-1. I'm probably going to go 3-1 after this week. But this is a league where it's 2 QB, and it is also 2.25 PPR for tight ends. So as you see, my tight ends, I mean, Isaiah Likely. I had to start Jalen McMillan only because I got ravaged with injuries at tight end this week. But I have A.J. Brown out. I have Evan Ingram out. So I'm not as worried about the depth here. But again, I have no problem. This is not a value assessment of Pacheco. So I'm going to go right to the bottom. Here is an 0-2 team. Let's see what they have. They have Javonte Williams, Roschon Johnson. They actually did try to send me Javonte Williams, so I'm fine doing that deal. Send out a Javonte Williams. Yeah, let's see if I have an extra second. Sometimes that's always the difficult part, is do I have an extra second that I can move in this league? And here I do have... You know what? I'm going to try here. I'm going to try a third. So we're going to go with a third and Pacheco for Javonte Williams. And I don't know if we have 4th rounders in this league. We don't. So I'm actually fine doing that type of deal. I'll pay the 3rd tax. Maybe I'll get some fab thrown in just in case there's a piece that I want to pick up. So we'll go 50 fab, Javonte Williams, and 50 fab for Pacheco, and a 25 third. So that one is sent. Any other running backs on this team? Not really. Here's another one, 0-2. Justice Hill. Yeah, no real running backs on this team, probably worth acquiring. So that one's out. Here's another 0-2 team. Aaron Jones and David Montgomery. Those guys are perfect candidates for the same type of deal. So let's roll in here. Aaron Jones. And just give me that fab. Yep, 50 fab. We'll do 50 fab for Isiah Pacheco and that 3rd rounder. Send that one out for Aaron Jones. And we will send that same deal out for the other running back that we had on the team, which was David Montgomery. Same deal. Same exact process. Don't really care between the two who I get. I mean, I'm sure I'd have my preferences. But again, when you have 47 leagues, I don't really have time to go back and forth. I kind of have to look at, okay, who am I actually willing to play ball with? And this is the general idea of what I'm trying to get back. I'm not overthinking it. These are pure. This is what playing with just pure process looks like, especially at running back at this level. Is the guy I'm getting healthy or not? So we'll send out that deal. So both of those go out. Let's see if there's any other candidates here. Here's an 0-2 team. Achane, Jerome Ford. Okay, I like the Jerome Ford. We can send out Jerome Ford in this deal as well. Do a Jerome Ford. Maybe I can get Jerome Ford and a 3rd. And sometimes you catch these teams and they really haven't fully committed to. I'm just going to ask for fab here. I'll do the Jerome Ford and a 4th. Let's try that. Ford and a 4th. And some of these teams haven't fully committed to the punt yet. Like they may not see the actual writing on the wall. They are not willing to move their non-injured players yet, regardless of what they're getting back. Like they're not to that point yet, and that's okay. They'll probably tell me that when they reject the trade. So there's the Ford offer. See if there's anybody else on this team. Not really. And then one more, Brian Robinson, or Bijan Robinson, never mind. I was going to say, if that's Brian Robinson, that's a perfect candidate. Other than that, Zach Moss. I could do Zach Moss. Zach Moss, probably very similar to Jerome Ford. So I can be down with Zach Moss. And let's see if they have a 3rd here. Don't have a 3rd, but have a 4th. Oh, 26 3rd. Can do that. And we'll give them Isiah Pacheco. Let's see if I have something I can kick back just to make it look. There we go. 25 4th. We'll do that. So Pacheco and a 4th for Zach Moss and a 26 3rd. And I'll get a little greedy and I'll throw in the fab there. Boom. So I think we're done. So send out a bunch of Pacheco trades there. And that's probably the teams that I'm most likely to get deals done with. Let's go to the next one. The next one is a league where I'm holding Pacheco. I have really no incentive to try to move him there because I'm already way out of it. I'm last place. So we'll go to this last one. And this is going to be something I could go through every league, but this would end up being, a 40-minute show. It's going to be probably 15 to 20 minutes every single week. So we'll go here. So this is a team where I've started off hot. I'm going to end up being 2-0 on this league. And let's go to the bottom. All right, we'll start with all the 0-2 teams. Let's see what they got. Jalen Warren and Tajay Spears. Jalen Warren, you know what? Jalen Warren is one that I haven't seen the usage yet, but you know what? I'm trying to trade for Zach Moss and Jerome Ford, and they haven't had it either. So let's go with Pacheco. And can't get greedy here. Cannot get greedy. So I'm going to ask for the 3rd. But I'm willing to give back the 2nd if I have one. Not a lot of these leagues do I have a 2nd. Ooh, man, yeah, this one's tough. Okay, so I'm going to have to give up Pacheco and the 3rd here for Jalen Warren because I don't have a 2nd to trade. And I'll ask for a little fab back maybe. Let's ask for 200. This is Ruben. Shout out to Ruben. I don't know if he'll do this deal, but Ruben's usually willing to play ball. So Pacheco and a 3rd for Jalen Warren and 100 fab. We'll send that one out. Ruben's usually pretty easy to trade with. He's reasonable. But I don't see anybody else on here that I'd be willing to do the deal with. Antonio Gibson. Okay. Now, you know what? We can do Antonio Gibson. Maybe I can even get a plus on top of Antonio Gibson for Pacheco. Let's see what I can get here. So Antonio Gibson and we have a third I can get? Yeah, there we go. Antonio Gibson and a 25 third for Pacheco. And you have to kind of hope also that for a team like Ruben, this actually helps him. This sheds some points for him where maybe he's now going from the guaranteed 102 to potentially the 101 because this is a potential points league. So Gibson and a third for Pacheco. That one's done. All right, let's go to the next team, the other 0-2 team. Woof. No real running backs to trade for there, so we'll skip over. Next team. This team's 0-2. Another Bijan. Derrick Henry. Okay, Derrick Henry. I don't really want to trade for Derrick Henry, but this is a 0.25 point per carry league, and I would love to get. This is the format to have Derrick Henry. So let me see what I can get. I'm not even going to ask for or get greedy here. I'm just going to give up Pacheco and a third to the team that has Henry. Hopefully they see the writing on the wall and they want to get out of Henry because this is the perfect league where I would want to have a 0.25 point per carry. Don't care about receptions or anything like that. Just simply want touches, which he's definitely going to give you. There's a Zach Moss. Let's try Zach Moss. Do the same thing. See if I maybe get back a third with Zach Moss. So we'll go down, see if this team has a third. So they have a third. All right. And I'll try to give up Pacheco and a fourth. See if that gets it done. And I'm just fishing. You got to fish. And really what I want to try to get out of a lot of these deals is I want to get some counters today and see if some of these managers are willing to play ball. So we'll send that one out. And don't really see any other running backs, any more 0-2 teams. Last one right here. We got Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, that is a perfect candidate. I would be willing to add the third to Pacheco to get Ramondre Stevenson. I have the third to add. And give me back 100 fab. We'll see where we get with that offer as well. Then I believe that is it. No other running back candidates. So there you go. I mean, that is in real time how I play the portfolio. I only went through three leagues. I have another one that I can try the same thing. In fact, as you can see, I have 9 Pacheco shares, and I think only 1 or 2 of those are parked in spots where I'm not willing to move. But that is how I play Dynasty in a nutshell. People that want to see the inner workings of my process, especially when it comes to an injured player, or the other circumstance would be a player that is getting opportunity now because of an injury. Think a backup quarterback. It is just spam or put in the chat, auto accept. We'll probably do a couple auto accept trade block episodes where I actually go in and update my auto accept trade blocks. Maybe we'll do one next week on that, on a team that has started maybe 0-3. And I go, it's time to liquidate. It is time to do auto accept. I have a couple teams that are about to go to 0-2. I thought they were going to be contenders. But if I see them going to 0-3, all of a sudden I'm starting to look at some of these middling assets that I was viewing as, man, these guys are fine just dying on my roster, to now maybe I set up an auto accept trade block and I'm willing to move some of those a little more aggressively than I would have if I was 1-2, or even if I was 2-1, but I wasn't sure I could win. So maybe we'll do an auto accept trade block episode here soon where I literally just go through and show where I'm updating my auto accept trade blocks exactly as you would. You can do it on MFL. You can do it on Sleeper when you update the nicknames. But the point is, it's a good strategy when you want to get stuff done quick. And I'll point everybody to this week's Destination Dynasty episode where I talk about this. Like, the name of the game right now is flexibility, liquidity, but also getting to the market quick, reading the signals of the supply and demand in your league and being able to actually act on those. The value of me sending these deals out for Pacheco, see if I got any responses yet. Sometimes you get quick responses. Looks like I've gotten one. Let's see, maybe it's a counter offer. No counter offers yet. Anyway, I think the point is the value moving somebody like Pacheco is not the dynasty evaluation. It is that I get the deal done quick. I don't want to wait 4 weeks. I want to get something done quickly, especially if it's a running back, because I want to use the running back that I'm getting. I don't want to trade for Ramondre Stevenson and then he's injured next week. Meaning, if I can move Pacheco and get some credit for him in the deal, I'm essentially abandoning any future value with him. I want to get something today, especially if I'm taking back a running back. If I'm moving him later in a package for a player, a team that's just tanking and they want as many assets as possible, they'll take a first and a second and Pacheco and another injured player, and they'll give you one starter. Okay, that's a deal for down the road that maybe I make in 6 weeks. If I still have a couple Pacheco shares that are sitting and it looks like he's going to miss the rest of the year, fine. But if I'm moving him right now, the urgency is to get something done right now. So with that, check out everything at ddfantasyfootball.com. If you have any portfolio questions, leave them in the comments. And of course, join the community, patreon.com/allgas, or you get access. If you sign up on the website, you get access to the Discord. These are the kind of conversations that we have, not just in the Heisman voice chat, but in the Discord chat itself. And then the pole position show, can't recommend it enough with Ty, where he actually looks through the dynasty landscape and says, okay, what moves can we literally start going and doing right now? And one of them would be, okay, I have these Pachecos that are probably done for the rest of the year. Let's just go start sending out offers. And it's not so much the evaluation of the players that you're getting back. It is, what does the process offer look like? Hey, let's tack a pick on to Pacheco for this level player. Let's tack a pick onto a player for Pacheco. If it's a guy like Antonio Gibson, where he really doesn't have much value other than a third, okay, can I get a third in Gibson for Pacheco? But it's literally going through the types of offers to send out, and then boom, you be the aggressor and send them out. So hopefully everybody enjoys. This is what Dynasty Portfolio Weekly is going to be every single week. Me walking you through my portfolio, looking at my rostership, and talking about one move that I am trying to do right now in real time, and hopefully it inspires others to do the same types of moves or think of their own, and they get them done before the next week. So with that, I will sign off for the week. Be chill.